Fuck. No, don't do that. That's probably gonna be loud. Ow. There we go. Should be nice and chill. Maybe a little more. Yeah, right there. All right. So we're gonna be making some tier lists. I put together a couple things earlier. We're gonna go over Mario and Pokemon Final Fantasy games, and then just do tier list at random. Should be pretty fun. I'm eating rice real quick though. Okay, so starting with Mario, we're gonna get the first one out of the way. B tier. Honestly, I think original Mario Brothers are just perfectly fine. And honestly, the only reason it's not C tier, this one specifically, is because it's got Duck Hunt on it. That, like, Duck Hunt really does add to that cartridge. But classic Mario Brothers is fine. Like, it's not offensive. I mean, it can be, but generally it's not. So, you know. Then we'll do, let's see. I guess we'll just go down the list. Mario Brothers 2. I don't honestly know how to feel about this one. It's like, okay. I think it's fine. Like, it's not the same as you know, your classic fucking Mario, but like I think its mechanics work fine. Its levels are just kind of odd, I think, though. Even though I know it's just a reskin of like some other game, but you know, it's it's whatever. A lot of these older games are kind of the same. I don't have Mario 3 on here. If I did, it would go in A tier because that one does slap. So I guess we'll go with Mario All Stars. That also goes in B tier. Like, I think it's definitely the best of the version of old Mario's that you can get. Because, like, it's the same games, but they look really good. That All Stars, like, Super Nintendo style was very iconic for me growing up. It just, it felt more alive. And also, it was very cohesive because all three games, well, four games, all looked generally the same. Let's do Mario Kart. Mario Kart. The first one, honestly, for me, D tier. Like, it's just kind of bland. Like, I know it's the first one, and obviously other ones that come out later on get they get better. It's just this one in particular. It's just not very exciting. It's like the same 5 levels, but with a slightly different track every time. It's I don't know. It's just kind of Dr. Mario, I think, is A tier, personally. I think it's a really good puzzle game. I know it was I don't even know if it was attempting to compete with Tetris, because Tetris had already been out for several years. So, I don't know. But, hey, it's fun. It gets... I think it's just challenging enough at the beginning. And then as you get further and further in, I think it keeps a good difficulty curve. Plus that fucking music slaps. Turn my mic down a little bit. It's kind of loud. All right. Next, we'll do Super Mario Land. I don't remember much of this game. So, I know it has good music. That's honestly most of what I remember from it. But, oops. I'll keep it in C tier. Because from what I remember of it, it wasn't bad. Let's do... Oh, here's another puzzle game. Wario's Woods. You know what? I think Wario's Woods is better than Dr. Mario. Let's put Dr. Mario down in B tier. But Wario's Woods is good as fuck. It's so fucking fun. Having to match up the different dudes and the different colors at the same time and being able to pull off these crazy ass fucking combos and shit. Man, it was super fucking cool. Very stressful, though. Are there any other... Let's do... I guess the couple, offshoot, titles that weren't super great. Or just different. Mario's Missing. F tier, dude. This shit sucks. It was so fucking boring as a kid. Absolutely awful. I know it was meant to be, an educational game, but I think that maybe having some sort of screen that explains what the fuck to do, a very short tutorial, probably would have went a long way into making the game more fun. Because as it stands, you're literally just a kid walking around not knowing what the hell is going on and occasionally getting hit by cars, which is funny. But yeah, that's about it, honestly. Let's do Super Princess Peach. This game, I think, was pretty good, actually. I don't know how much recognition it got, but I found it very, very entertaining. Can I increase the size of this bitch? There we go. Yeah, I think it was a fantastic time. Nope, not fine. I could have sworn there was a way to make this full screen, actually full screen, but I guess not. Yeah, I thought Super Princess Peach was fun. It had really cool power-ups. It had a really good gameplay loop. A lot of good platforming sections in there too. Solid game. Mario Paint. I think as a Mario game, it's not great because, there's no Mario shit going on. As its own game, I think it's neat. Like, it had a lot of cool, like, paint tools in there that you could use, like different fucking textures and stuff, and it was just a good time. Really good for kids to explore how to paint in like a virtual environment. Really good for computer literacy. And but that fly mini game is very stressful. Fuck that game. I'll put it in D tier. It's a D tier Mario game specifically. Alright, let's knock off the last NES and Super Nintendo games. We'll start with Yoshi's Cookie. Another puzzle game. They really didn't seem to know what the hell they were doing. Excuse me. Really early on, especially with Yoshi stuff, like Yoshi's Cookie. Honestly, it's F tier. It's awful. It's really boring. It's quite literally just the exact same level every single time. Without any sort of like challenge or anything. It's just, hey, match these things up over and over forever. Like, it's like Tetris if Tetris never got faster. I don't know what their deal was. Next up we'll do Super Mario World. S tier. 100%. I honestly think that Mario World is the best 2D Mario experience you can get. Hands down. Like, it had so many different, like, cool levels to it. So many different enemies and stuff. The music was amazing. Like, just everything about it was cool as fuck. Oh my god. Stop! Stop. The fucking music was great. A lot of cool, like, I mean, the bosses were all relatively... Actually, no, there had a lot of cool bosses. All the cool secrets and stuff in there, too. Like, man, it was good. Fucking iconic. Honestly. And we'll just go next up. Fucking Yoshi's Island. Also S tier. Yoshi's Island, I think that Yoshi's Island and Mario World together kind of perfected the 2D platforming experience with two different, like, styles of 2D platforming as well. Like, they were both very much, just course clearing levels where you just go one level after another after another after another with no real variation, but like the way that they're played is so drastically different. And like Yoshi's Island's art style was phenomenal on top of that. Like I really don't think that these two specifically, I don't think that you can get any better experiences for 2D platformers. And then last on the Super Nintendo roster, we've got Mario RPG. I think it's a very good RPG, JRPG anyway. Like, made by Square Enix, or Squaresoft at the time. And, it's fantastic. Like, it was literally the, a foundation for all following Mario RPG games. And I don't think that they've kind of deviated a little bit with the new Paper Marios, but like, I think it's pretty good still. I think it had a cool story. Enemies were fun. All the extra side characters were really cool and unique. Like, it was a good time. Plus, you got Bowser on your team, so how are you gonna complain about that? Let's knock off the rest of the Yoshi games. Next up with Yoshi's Story. This shit is D tier. I wouldn't quite put it down here with Mario's Missing, which is the very bottom, and Yoshi's Cookie, but it's not great. Like, the way you move and run around in that game doesn't feel good. Fucking, like, the art style just felt odd. All the enemies were fucking weird. There was always just this like weird underlying like sinisterness to it as well. Like, honestly, like, that game haunted me as a kid. It was like, just off-putting for some reason. Maybe it was the way the music was, combined with, like, the constant, like, chanting of the Yoshis and shit, and all this weird fruit stuff. I don't know. The whole mix of it is somewhat of a fever dream. And I'm not about it. I am missing a Yoshi game in here. Interesting. Oh well, it was going to get rated F tier anyway. Yoshi's Island DS. I think that this was in a general improvement, but did not capture... I think it was a more fun game, but I don't think it was a more fun experience. I think it's probably... I think it's better than original Mario Brothers. But I think it is worse than Super Princess Peach. And All-Stars goes at the top, honestly. Like, having the different, like, babies and stuff gave you different powers and everything, but, like, you didn't need powers in the original Yoshi's Island. Like, yeah, you had, like, the transforming vehicles and stuff like that, but, like, it just... I don't know, it's not the same. Like... I don't know, it just felt off and just not Yoshi's Island. And Yoshi's New Island, I think, goes at top of C tier. I don't think that it improved really at all. The art style was like very, like all the colors and stuff were very muted. Like I think it was supposed to look kind of hand drawn like the original one, but like it didn't come off that way. It just, I don't know. And if you can see the art, like the whole like gimmick of that game was like, oh, sometimes you get a really big egg, but like, who cares? So, yeah, I guess that's that. We'll go through the Mario Karts next. We already did that. I forgot to grab 64. 64 is A tier. Double Dash is S tier. Like, I don't care what the opinion is of other people, but at least for this, because like Double Dash was so good. Every single mode was fantastic. Every difficulty was fun to play. Mirror mode was cool. All the different like combinations of racers you could have and power-ups, like everything felt perfect. Like, it was such a good game. All the tracks in there too, like, god damn. Like, I know that Mario Kart 8 is really good. There's a lot of games in here that I put in that are missing, but whatever, I suppose. But I don't know, it's not Double Dash. Like, I didn't even play much of it as like a kid. I played it more as I got older, and just, man, very, very good. Very cool. But I guess without 8 Deluxe in here, I guess we don't... look at that. But I'm going to hide this for a second and see what the hell's going on with that. And why it didn't get put in there. I guess some of the pictures didn't save properly. Odd. Okay. I guess it was just the Mario ones. Oh, Mario Kart Wii. We can do this one. Mario Kart Wii is phenomenal. That game is so much fun. Like, racing with the Wii wheel or just outright on the Wiimote Oh shit, I gotta turn this back on. Bam. It's A tier. It's very, very good. I had so much fun playing with that. Like, and plus that was when they added like the online racing and shit. Like, dude, it was cool. Fantastic tracks in that one as well. Like the Wii and the GameCube and 64 had like the most iconic tracks. So we'll do all the Mario parties. Actually, I guess we'll finish up the Mario RPGs. Paper Mario 1, S tier. It was literally perfect in every way. I cannot even think of a bad thing to say about it other than like maybe the music in some areas was just kind of eh. But it was just so cool. Like all the different little like assists that you could do with your characters, all the party members being very distinct and cool. I guess really the only complaint I could say is that Goombario is kind of useless. Like, I mean, I guess he's not useless, but like, you don't really have to ever use him if you don't want to. He's just kind of yeah, perfect game. Literally, can't think of anything bad about it. Thousand Year Door, on the other hand, I think is B tier. I think it's low B tier too. Like I know that like it's everybody's favorite Paper Mario game, but I don't know, man. Like it didn't have that same kind of charm, I think, as the original Paper Mario. Like this one seemed like they were just trying to fucking they were just like trying like to make it like extraordinary when it already was extraordinary. I don't know. It seemed like it was too much effort. I didn't really feel attached to it at all. Super Paper Mario I thought was pretty good. I think it's also B tier though. Because for me, like it's still not no S tier, but I don't even think it can. I don't think I could say it's better than Yoshi's Island or anything like that. But it was very cool. I really did like it. I think the thing that served it best was the story, because they just kind of turned it into a regular fucking Mario game, but you have a hammer. Which, what's the point? I mean, that's really all I got to say on that. Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, also an S tier. These two RPGs, or Mario RPGs specifically, are the shit. Like, they, with the divergence of the Mario RPGs into those two distinct categories of paper and then Mario and Luigi, you had the two different styles of gameplay, and both of them worked super well. And just, oh my god, the music, just everything about it. It was cool. There was so much in there. And it was on Game Boy Advance, which was just surprising as hell. So we'll move on to Mario Parties. Mario Party 1 is also S tier. Like, I know everybody says 2 is better. I don't think 2 is better. I think 2 had worse boards, and it copied most every game from the first one with like shittier backgrounds. So it was just like, who cares? Fuck Mario Party 2. Mario Party 1, it had like the single player like minigame island. That was cool as hell. It had like the secret board you can unlock, the dope item shop. It was dope. Everything about Mario Party 1 slapped so hard, and it's iconic. Mario Party 9, on the other hand, F tier. That shit sucks. Some of the minigames are okay, but other than that, like, it doesn't feel like Mario Party. It's just like, oh, cool, let's play. I didn't know that, you know, party games could be fucking walking simulators now, but, you know, whatever, I suppose. Mario Party Superstars, I think, is perfectly serviceable. Like, that's fine. If you want to kind of play Mario Party 1 or 2 with, like, friends online and stuff, like, it's whatever. But it's honestly not anything special. Super Mario Party, though, A tier. I think that is the... like, since Mario Party, like, 4 or 5 or whichever one it is, like, Super Mario Party is the first game in literally several generations of Nintendo consoles to actually feel like a Mario Party game. And like it's like just all of the mini games in there as well are so good. Like they fully utilized the Joy Cons for those, and I could not be any happier with the results of it. God damn, this shit's loud. At least it feels loud to me. Turn this down a little bit more. Right there. We got. I guess we'll just go in for the rest of these Mario 64. Also S tier. Literally revolutionized platforming as we know it. Is the basis for all 3D platformers and basically all 3D games. Like, yeah, it had its problems, but it's iconic and is very, very popular for a very good reason. Like, it's damn near a perfect game. Mario DS though, not as good. Like, being able to play as the other characters was cool. Having a few extra courses was neat, and all the extra mini games and stuff you do were very cool. But like, it was just kind of clunky. It didn't feel like Mario 64, and that is inherently the issue. We'll go with the two clones real quick: Mario Brothers U and Luigi U. I think Luigi U is better, but not much. I think it just had more interesting levels, whereas this one, it was fine. It was multiplayer Mario, which I think was neat, but other than that, it was just kind of basic Mario. Penguin suit was cool, or the ice flower or whatever. It was cool. Mario Galaxy, good old You Are Mr. Gay. That goes A tier. I think it was very, very, very fun. I don't have Odyssey in this list as well. Gosh dang, all these games that didn't make it into this list because my computer messed up apparently. Yeah, super fun. I really like the combination of it being like an objective game and a course clearing game at the same time. Like it was cool. I liked it a lot. Mario 3D Land. I think it's a good B tier. I think it's definitely more fun than most of these. I'd put it up here. It was very long. Had literally two entire games put into it. There were so many different levels in there. It was like, because it was like 4 or 5 levels or something like that in each world, or maybe there was 8, and there was like 8 worlds on top of that. And then you get to the end and beat it, and then it's Luigi, and then it's an entire another game's worth of levels. Like, that was really cool. There was a lot of really cool concepts in there too. Like, it was a good time. And Mario Maker 2, while I would like to put it in S tier because of all the cool shit that can be done, honestly, I think it deserves C tier. But high C tier, probably highest C tier, because like, it really kind of depends on the level. The story mode was just kind of okay. Like, So we're literally without input from players, which I know is the point. It's just kind of meh. But looking over this list, let me make some adjustments as I deem necessary. You know, I'm actually going to put Mario DS down here in D, along with Super Mario Land and Super Mario 2. I think Luigi U. Actually, no, I think all of these are good. Actually, no, Yoshi's Island DS should go down. No, it shouldn't. What's up, bud? Oh, okay. Did you shut the one in the kitchen?
No, that one was open.
Yep. Thank you. And then, huh. No, I think this list is good. Honestly, it kind of does, it does kind of make sense, too. A lot of Mario games, especially the 2D ones, are very good. Like, they're a little bit better than average, but most aren't, like, you know, much to write home about. But the ones that do stand out are very memorable. Which I guess kind of speaks for basically all Mario games. Oh, let's hit the old save. I'm going to download this, but what I'm going to do is hide this. Hey. Alright, we're going to move on to the next tier list then. We're going to do Final Fantasy games. Alright. Let's start with the first three. Outright, I think Final Fantasy 1. I can't say D tier. I think it's C tier. Like, obviously it started it, but it and Dragon Quest were very similar. And it, you know, kind of being based off like first edition D&D and stuff like that. I don't know. It didn't. I knew it was like very different for the time, but like going back and looking at it, not as someone who grew up with it and stuff like that, like it just kind of lacked an identity, and honestly, it kind of lacked a direction. And Final Fantasy 2, I think could have been better. But with the system that it had for like leveling up and stuff like that, like I don't know, it just I don't know, it just didn't do very well. I think it just didn't work. Like because it had like that Oblivion, like Elder Scrolls style fucking leveling system where like, you know, you had to use something to get better at it or get hit to like, you know, get stronger, and like I don't know. Like, it's a good system for RPGs, but I don't think it worked well at the time. Like, because if you don't know that, because it never explains it, like you just kind of left out in the open. And then 3, F tier, absolute garbage. It's literally just a what's up? Let me know when it's done. Yeah, it's absolutely fucking terrible. Like, the story was meh. Fucking, I mean, they introduced the job system, so that's kind of neat, but it's very bare bones because it was, you know, the first one. But it was just a constant cycle of, you know, grind a whole bunch and then fight a boss, and then grind a whole bunch, fight the next boss, and you just do that forever until you beat the game, because they didn't really have a sense of game balance, even though it was the third game. But, you know, whatever. I guess we're just gonna go up the list. All right, next we got Final Fantasy 4. A tier for sure. A very, very good game. All of the characters were very good and unique. While it still had the job system, it was more like the characters just had defined roles, which I thought was really good. The whole like redemption of like Cecil, all like, you know, becoming a paladin and fighting the four fiends with just like super iconic music, and like Golbez being just this very mysterious villain the whole game, where you just don't know what he's doing. It was very, very good. A lot of dramatic just events happen as well that are just kind of crazy. You're like, oh my god, like it kept you guessing the whole game. It was very, very good. Final Fantasy V, I think, is C tier. I think it's definitely better than 2, but I think it is just okay. I don't think it did anything special, honestly. Like, they brought back the job system. They added a bunch of jobs, which was cool, and they're all unique, but I thought the story was very bland. I thought X-Death was just discount Golbez, to be honest. And really none of the bosses stand out. The only reason that, like, Gilgamesh stands out, I feel, is because of the music and being somewhat of a comic relief. But without that, I mean, like, there's just not really anything else to say about it. All the characters were very meh. So we'll move on to the next one. Final Fantasy VI. An easy S tier. Fucking hands down. Such a good game. This fucking cat better not jump up onto that desk. Dude, it had so many characters, like 14 or something like that. And such a cool, like, customization, like, system. Like, it had, obviously, it had all of the, like, cool defined roles and stuff that I was kind of in 6. Or not 6, but 4. But all of the just ways that you could customize the different characters with all the equipment, and then equipping them with the espers to, like, level up certain stats and stuff like that. Like, it was so good. And all of them had all the characters had such good stories that were, like, interwoven with each other. And, like, the music was fucking phenomenal. And then Kefka on top of that being, like, this surprise, or, not really surprise, like, I guess he was kind of a surprise final boss. But, like, the portrayal that he does of, like on Getsus midway through the game. And then, the heroes, like, losing and stuff, and then it being like, oh, we got to get the gang back together and do it right this time. It was very, very good. I don't think that anything prior to that could have ever topped it. And I guess quite a few entries after that as well. Because moving right along from that, we get to Final Fantasy VII, which I think, and I know that everybody's opinion is opposite of mine, but it's fucking D tier. Like, it's better than 3, but that's about it. It's fucking awful. Literally every single thing that Final Fantasy VII did, Final Fantasy VI had literally just done, and also better. Like, there were less characters that you could choose from. All their stories were very bland. Like, the music was just kind of, it was mainly just, oh shit, there's guitars now. Sephiroth was very cringe. Like, it was just kind of okay. Actually, it wasn't even just okay. It was bad. I don't like that game. Like, I think the most interesting character in that entire game was Red 13. And he's like a tiger. So I guess that just, what does that have to say, I guess, about the human characters? I don't know. Yeah. Awful game. Literally would not play it again. Final Fantasy VIII, A tier. 100%. It had such a cool, again, obviously music is going to be a big thing in Final Fantasy games. Music is phenomenal. Very, very good. It was all very jazzy. Had a lot of, like, horns and stuff, and it was really cool. Such a cool, like, leveling system, and being able to, like, attach different magic to different stats to, like, increase them and make them stronger, and, like, learn different abilities, like, with all your summons and stuff like that. It was cool. And plus, like, the limit break system being improved, like, it was super fun. The story was weird, but I mean, it was kind of the first one where you don't, like, fight God at the end of it. You just fight some crazy ass, like, wizard from the future, which I guess isn't, like, a whole hell of a lot better than fighting God, but I think it's, at least somewhat more interesting. Yeah, them all being like orphans from the same orphanage is a little weird and kind of a weak story point, but eh. It really doesn't drag it down that much for me. But moving on to Final Fantasy IX, though, I think at best is B tier. But personally, like, if I had to put it high, it'd be B. But I personally think it's D tier. I think it's the best of D tier, but I also think it's just... I don't think it's good. Again, kind of the same, like... kind of in the same group as Final Fantasy VII, like... because it is iconic does not mean that it's good. Like, I think that the limit break system was butchered horribly. I like the look of the menu. I will say that. All of the menus looked fantastic, I think. Especially being able to change it from gray to blue. It really added that like level of charm. The music was good. The few tracks that were fun. But overall, it was very forgettable. The most anybody can remember from this game is Vivi, and he's literally not even the main character. He's just the most interesting character. And I'm going to be honest, I totally forgot for like many years that the last boss is even Kuja. And you got this fucking dude, you got Amaranth over here on the cover, and he's like not even in the game until like the end. Like, what's the point? It's just very forgettable. And Final Fantasy X, obviously S tier. It was, I think honestly, it was groundbreaking. Like, it even says so on the back of the box for the most, like, you can tell based on what it says on the back of the box when it has a selling point of fully voiced cutscenes or voiced dialogue or whatever it is. But like, it is beloved for a very good reason. The visuals were fantastic. The story was so in-depth for what was out at the time. And it was just such an interesting experience. Being, I think, the equivalent of it's the equivalent of having a voiceless protagonist that actually talks. Because he had a story and like a background and stuff, but no one ever said his name because you could name the character. And I think that worked amazingly. Because like, as a young player, like, you get, I mean, that's kind of the whole point of being able to name your characters in games. Like, you get attached to them, you project onto them. And being like Tidus was very easy to project onto as a character. While obviously, most people aren't fucking star like sports players or whatever, like, the very like humbling journey he had is very relatable for a lot of people. I think it all worked really well. All the characters, I think, were fleshed out very well. Seymour, I think, was a fantastic villain, even though he wasn't the real villain. That was a bit meh, but that was Yu Yevon is very forgettable. I think that was just a Final Fantasy trope. I think it would have been great if they had dropped it, but I guess I can understand. Like, oh, Jack's not really bad. It's, he's being controlled by Yu Yevon and, all this shit, right? But it was a phenomenal experience. So very, very good. I've realized I forgot to, I guess, to do the side games, the couple that I already passed. Final Fantasy IV After Years. It's okay. I think it's a solid B tier. It's just more Final Fantasy IV, but with a little bit extra mechanics. And it's like, with all the, like, children of, like, the previous cast. Like, it's cool. It's a nice, solid fan service game. Dirge Cerberus? Oh, man. I think it's also a solid B tier. I think it's better than After Years. I think it had very fun shooting mechanics. Just I th- and the story was forgettable, and the levels were kind of meh. But the shooting really does like bring what it is up. Plus, it's Vincent. He's cool. He's nice and edgy. He's got a gun. Them having melee combat in there is, I think, what kind of ruined it. But, what can you do, I suppose? What was the other odd? Oh, yeah, there it is. 10-2. I think 10-2 is a fantastic game. It is so very, very good. Oh, shit. Actually, let me actually adjust this, because there's some Final Fantasy games that I forgot to add to this list that need to go on here. So give me just a minute. Just a moment. I realized I didn't have a picture for one of these. Okay. Yeah, personally, I think Final Fantasy X-2 was a fantastic gameplay experience. Story was absolute butt cheeks. Like, it was terrible. Absolutely fucking terrible. But I think the character designs were really fun. It had the best job system of any Final Fantasy game, hands down. Being able to swap mid-battle on the fly was phenomenal. Plus, their super dress spheres where one character basically becomes the whole party. Fantastic. Plus, it had fantastic music again. But that's an unpopular opinion. Most people think 10-2 was garbage, but honestly, I think for everybody, it's mainly just because it's a very, very much a Japanese girl power experience, which most people coming off of Final Fantasy X did not want that. So, I guess it's understandable. But, yeah, if you're looking at it from just a story perspective, it's definitely F tier. But without the story, you could literally just plug anything else in there for a story with that gameplay, and it'd be phenomenal. We'll do the remasters of 10 and 10-2. I think they're very good, but I think they're only A tier. Because while definitely the environments and all the monsters all look fantastic, and it running with just such good colors and stuff like that for all the environments and everything, and it running at 60 frames, and the extra PAL versions, contents being added in, the challenge grid, and the couple extra dress spheres and stuff like that, and that whole extra mystery dungeon style game mode was all very, very cool. But the characters looked so fucking weird. They looked not great. And then the music, for the most part, was honestly a very, very much a downgrade from most of the tracks in the originals. And then also the most useful feature, which is Quick Heal or something like that, is a feature that's only available in the Vita version, which is the best version to play. It looks the best. So that's a weird thing, but whatever. Moving right along to Final Fantasy 12. I think Final Fantasy 12 is pretty decent. I played it a lot as a kid. It was very difficult for me to understand at first, but as I understood it, it started to get more fun. I think the story is very good. However, I do think that having Vaughn and Pinello was kind of a waste of time. They really don't add anything to the story. And I'm going to be totally honest, Ash doesn't really add anything either. And also neither does Fran. It's mainly just a story about Balthier and fucking, I forgot his name. I don't know why I can't remember his name. Bosch. It's mainly about Balthier and Bosch, to be perfectly honest. Like, Ash is just kind of there as a plot point to be able to fucking explain why you guys can use, like, why the party can use espers. And Fran, for the most part, is silent. Just randomly being there to just drop exposition. The Zodiac Age version of it, which is the PAL version, goes right along with it. Same game, but had like the cool, like, boss rush mode, basically, where you could fight, 100 levels of bosses or enemies and stuff like that in combat scenarios. It was cool. Being able to, like, assign specific types of, like, roles to your characters is also really neat. I actually really liked that function. It made it very customizable. But I mean, that's really all it did. It's about the same experience, honestly. I forgot to grab this. The Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think was better. At least for what it was, gameplay-wise. That is why it's a C. I also liked it fleshing out the characters, a lot of the side characters, actually. I thought that was fantastic. I thought it was really cool. However, it's still Final Fantasy VII. It got very ridiculous at the end, to where it just wasn't fun anymore. The Sephiroth boss fight was... It made no sense as to why it was there. Like, that's not how it was in the original game. And I know it's not supposed to be a carbon copy, but, like, it just seems weird. It's like, oh, there he is. So, really only for gameplay purposes. And also for it not being a full fucking game. It was just, hey, we're going to do this episodic thing because we're Square Enix and we want to be greedy. But it gets a C tier for gameplay. Because I thought the gameplay was pretty fun. Except for the Air Raider, whatever the fuck his name is. That fight was garbage. Absolute trash. That shit was 10 minutes of standing there and fucking shooting out of a Barret. What a stupid fight. We will move on to 13 now. Where is 13? Why is 13 not here? I added it. I know I did. I guess I didn't. Let me grab that real quick. It's odd. I swore I did. It really feels like I was unprepared, but I swear to God, I did all this earlier. It took me like 2 hours to get all these pictures for all this. Okay, so moving on to 13. 13's F tier. It's fucking garbage. Absolutely fucking terrible. It was... Story's not great. It was just... It was like if Final Fantasy X's story, like, had no heart in it. The only character that was like... That, like, had any sort of, like, real motivation was fucking... Saj, or however the fuck you pronounce his name. But he was like set up to be the comic relief character because he's black. So, I don't know. It was just whack. All the characters, story sucked. The gameplay, also very same-songy every single battle. Yeah, it got very old very quickly. Some of the music was cool, so I like that, but it was quite literally, as everybody knows, Final Hallway 13. It was you walk straight basically the entire game, with a few exceptions where you gotta walk slightly to the left or right so you can grab a treasure chest or whatever, or go and fight an enemy. And like, you don't even get the ability to quote-unquote free roam, which is basically just select an area and then run up and down that hallway to try to find whatever secret monster to fight, until like fucking 85% of the way through the goddamn game. Like, that's too long. Like, nah. Literally not good. 13.2 was only slightly better. And the only reason for that is because you could just kind of choose where you wanted to go, and it was basically a mystery game. But, man. Also a very let down of like a story. Gaius was very retarded basically the entire game. A motivation that made no real sense. Fucking, I don't know what the fuck Lightning is out there doing. You're just doing some dumb shit. It was literally just 13, but like if the roles were reversed, and like that's boring. And really it's only fun if you're like a Doctor Who fan, because it's like, oh, you're traveling through time to save the present. Like, whatever. Lightning Returns, on the other hand, is a solid game. It is very, very good. I think that it is what they intended for Final Fantasy XIII originally when it came out. While Lightning is still kind of dry, her voice actor is also very dry in her like terms of delivery with a lot of lines. I know that's supposed to be like the charm. She's this very stoic character that everyone's. She's fucking female Squall. That's what she is. But it's so fun being able to completely go wherever you want at any point in time in the game. Having this whole like multi-day like time-based like quest system where you got to go out like and go to certain areas at certain times to like find, you know, certain enemies and talk to certain peoples to like complete the game. It was very fun, very Majora's Mask-esque, but very fun. And also essentially being 3 characters but with 1 character it was almost like in 10.2 with its dress spheres. Almost exactly, because every single new job had like a special outfit for Lightning Returns. It was very fan servicey, but it was very, very fun to play. And I think if they had just done this game by itself, didn't have 13 or 13.2, I think it would have been a phenomenal experience. Starting in a world as this character where you don't know what's going on, and just being introduced to this world where everyone is immortal, and you hear about the events that happened for the first time from a person who was there, and then like learning just more and more tidbits about everything that happened and like things from the past games and stuff like that, but like in the present, not being able to see those, it gives you like the ability to like imagine, like your own scenario of like, oh man, I wonder what that was like, and yada. I think it would have been a much better experience with the desolation of like the world and like all its inhabitants being just very apathetic. I think it would have been fantastic. Moving on though we'll do Dissidia. I think Dissidia was a B tier, honestly. Like, it was good. A super fucking fun fighting game. Like, being able to fight is, your favorite Final Fantasy heroes and villains. Good time. NT, I think, is A tier. It's very, very fun. There's even more characters. There's so many different, so much music in there, and the online is fun to play. I do think it's a little odd that they decided to go from, single battles, 1v1s the entire time to all of a sudden everything is a 3v3 unless you do custom online matches. But I think it's great. I think it works very, very well. And very rightly so. I mean, it was literally just an arcade cabinet exclusive in Japan that they said, hey, let's make it into a full game. Let's make more money. Moving on from that, though, we're going to hit Final Fantasy 15. I think 15 was an S tier. It was so much fun. I think it was a very fantastic experience going through it the first time. I do, however, think that its multimedia experience... Actually, you know what? With that, yeah, that brings it down. Actually, that brings it down a lot. I'll put it down top of B tier. I think that 15... with its multimedia experience just kind of took away from the experience of the game. Like, you had to watch a movie, and there was an anime, and there was a comic book, and there was a mobile game, and it having all these problems on release, and all of this extra DLC stuff that added so many things to the game that make it so much better than it was. I don't know. I think in its state now, it's an S tier, hands down. But what it was when it came out, it was somewhat lackluster. There was a very distinct lack of story. A lot of the time, you just didn't know what to do. But I know that wasn't really the point. That wasn't the view for the game itself. It was meant to just be, you find out the story as you adventure with your best friends. Which I think that's great. Alright, we'll move on to these side games before I get to the big one at the end. Final Fantasy Explorers, I think, was a C tier. Bottom of C tier. But it was very fun for what it was. As being a basically Final Fantasy style Monster Hunter game where you get to fight all the iconic monsters and a bunch of the summons and stuff. It was really cool. And being all your favorite Final Fantasy classes while you're doing it was very neat too. The thing that made it suffer though is how repetitive it was. Because essentially, once you get to a point where you fight Bahamut, and he's he's the end of low rank. He's the last low rank quest you do. And you're like, oh man, that was insane. But after that, it's literally just basically every quest after that just becomes, oh, fight one of the summons again. And it just repeats like that for several tens of hours until finally you get to the point where you're fighting super versions of them and stuff like that. They're in different colors. And then a couple extra bosses like Omega and fucking Gilgamesh and stuff. And it never really gets much more exciting gameplay-wise. It's just... it's very much a letdown after low rank. But a very good idea. And I would love to see them revisit... the concept and try to make it better. Make it a full console experience where... Well, it's literally just Monster Hunter, but Final Fantasy. That, I would like to see that. Making all the classes much more unique. Because a lot of the classes shared a lot of the same skills, and that's just kind of a bummer. But I think that format has a hell of a lot of potential. Bravely Default and Bravely Second. Bravely Default is an easy S tier. For the classic Final Fantasy experience of 4 characters... classic JRPG turn-based style with the Final Fantasy job 3 and 5 job system. It does everything perfectly. The story is fantastic. The battle system it had like added like extra layers of depth with like street pass and literally the brave and the default system where you could spend spend these action points to act multiple times in a round. It was very, very cool, and the very fourth wall, almost fourth wall breaking that it does lends very well. Like, to discover the final boss, you have to, or to discover, yes, to discover the final boss, you have to come to a realization about how you are playing the game, and it's phenomenal. And I have never had an experience like that, and I doubt I ever will again. Bravely Second is almost an S tier, because it's literally, if you liked Bravely Default, it's more of that. But it just doesn't feel as good. The gameplay is exactly the same. It's just the couple extra characters that you have to play as are just not as great. So it just feels a little less personal, I suppose. I'm not sure. But it is very fourth wall breaking. It's very, very good. I still would 100% recommend it. Those two games are literally the pinnacle of classic JRPG Final Fantasy style gameplay. Strangers of Paradise, I think, is a fantastic game. I think it goes up in A tier. It's very much like Neo. It's made by the same creators, but it's all Final Fantasy. Being able to go through basically the story of Final Fantasy 1, but you're evil the whole time. And for some reason your character listening to Limp Bizkit at the end of the first level, that's fantastic. It's some of the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. But the updates that they've done to add different classes and weapon types, and it's so much fun. If you like loot games where you come up with all these different builds based on what gear you have and what abilities you're using and all this other stuff, you will love this game. It's very fun. And then moving on to the big one that I had to cut up because of just how it is. Final Fantasy XIV. We'll start just from the beginning and move forward. A Realm Reborn. I did not play the original Final Fantasy XIV. I had never played 11, and so I heard nothing about 14. It came out during a just tumultuous time in my life, so I wasn't really playing many video games in the first place. But I heard about Realm Reborn coming out. My friend was like, "Oh man, it's coming out," because he was a big fan of 11. And so I was like, "Oh, that's cool." My first experience with it, I played it for a few hours at his house. And then I didn't play it again until I got a PS4 a couple years later. It was right actually before the release of the first expansion, Heavensward. And I got it because one of my PlayStation friends was like, "Oh yeah, you should play it, I'm on there." I was like, "Okay, cool, I'll give it a try." It was, I think, a very interesting experience going through it. It was very long. It has changed much since then, for the better, but I think the Realm Reborn is, man, I think it's top of D tier. I think it's fine, but I don't really think it's very good now gameplay wise. Starting as a new person, but maybe I'm wrong. I think it's just Heavensward, on the other hand, its first expansion quite literally changed the game. It was so different from what it had done previously. Like it was like it was what kind of defined how the game is played nowadays. It like they established like their release structure for like raids and just most of their content in general. So I think it was very cool, and they added like 3 new classes, and it was super fun. Story was fantastic as well. Obviously, the music. Before I rank any of these, the music in all of these are S tier. There is almost not a single bad track in the entire game. Heavensward, though, I think it is the top of B. It's very good, but there's stuff that is still better. Stormblood was an entire experience that you just had to be there for. It's like watching Dragon Ball Z on Toonami as a child. Like, you can watch Dragon Ball Z now, and it's fine, but it's not the same. It's something you had to be there for. And Stormblood is very much that way. I really cannot describe it in words. Like, the story's okay. Like, it seemed a little spread out and, like, not very urgent a lot of times. Xenos was... He kind of came in out of nowhere. It wasn't honestly too important until, like, right at the end. But the other cast of characters, I think, were pretty good. I think it was definitely better than Heavensward. I would put it probably here. Again, something I can't really get too into without it just not really making sense. For those that have played it, though, I guarantee you will understand. Shadowbringers, however, is hands down an S tier. It was phenomenal the entire way through. The story had so much stakes in it. It was just so good. There were a couple times where I was just like, man, I wish they would just get to the good parts. But it was a fantastic experience basically the entire way through. The switch up of the job systems, like how you did stuff with jobs was very, very cool. Making Dark Knight like the icon of the game was fantastic. And now Endwalker, the current release. While it is not technically done with the story, like the story that they established from Realm Reborn, I guess technically from 1.0, which is the original Final Fantasy XIV, all the way up through Shadowbringers, does culminate in Endwalker. And after you beat it, the story does continue, but it's currently what everybody is doing now, but it's none of the stuff that happened previously really matters. It's more small scale stuff. I think that's neat. But for the initial release, it was a very unique experience. Something that is very difficult to describe. It was very, very emotional, basically the entire way through. If really the best thing I can say about this is, if you suffer from like depression or like anxiety or like feelings of worthlessness and like hopelessness and stuff like that, I think that you should play this game all the way through Endwalker, through the 6.0 release when you do the final trial. It really will. It won't change your life, but it will definitely give you more appreciation for the things that you do have, and hopefully give you a nice tool to have to just fall back on when you need it. With that being said, it is also an S tier. It is such a fantastic experience, and I literally will likely never have anything like it ever again. And let's take another look at this one as well. And let's see if I want to make any changes. I lied. I am going to put 8 up here in S tier, but it goes at the bottom. I think it improved on everything that Final Fantasy VII had to offer. I thought it was fantastic. Honestly, I think I'm going to put 10 and 10 to... Actually, no, I think that needs to stay there. That sounds right. Honestly, yeah. Really, the only things I would bother moving would be 7 and 13 too, but that'd be down to F tier because I just think they're terrible games. But I think that's solid. Go ahead and debate me if you want. I don't care. We'll get into it. It could be fun. With that in mind, we're going to go to the next one with all the Pokemon games I've played. Let's change this back to blue. Okay, with these, we're going to go by generation. So, with that being said, we've got green version. I think I should zoom this out a little bit. Yeah, there we go. To that. We're doing green version first. It is the basis upon which everything is built. C tier. It's fine. Like, it's really, it's Pokemon. Like, it's the very first Pokemon. It's literally about all you can say about it. This is not my stream music. I'll just hit shuffle on this, and if something duplicate comes up, I'll just skip it. Okay. But yeah, you really can't say much else about the green version other than this. It was the first Pokemon. Red and blue, however, I do have each version. Oh god, I might sneeze. Nope, we're good. Red and blue. Well, I'll lump red in here with green as well. Because it came out, it was originally red and green. And I would like to put green up because it's got Venusaur and that's my boy. I won't because, yeah. But, yeah. Red and green, same. Blue does go above them. I think it had a good... I thought it was really cool if you were on Game Boy Color and you had red or blue, that, you know, one was red and one was blue just based on what you were playing. Thought that was neat. But blue version fixed a lot of things that, you know, was wrong with red and green. So, but it was still just same game, Pokemon. It was very broken still. Yellow version elevated it a little further, being able to get all 3 starters in most every single Pokemon in the game. I think there was like 2, maybe 3 that you couldn't catch that you needed to transfer from red and blue. But solid, iconic. Pikachu's on the front. Interesting starter to have, interesting to have an electric starter in a game. Moving on from that, we have Pokemon Stadium. Solid B tier. It was fantastic to see Pokemon in 3D and like fight with them, and like they had a lot of personality, and the announcer was fantastic. It was a good time. Having like the gym leader mode and like being able to play your games on the TV was fantastic. Like if you didn't have a Super Game Boy, then like that was insane. Excuse you, skip please. Please skip. Nope, that's not what I want. There we go. Yeah, it was cool. Plus those mini games too. Like, come on, being able to use your own Pokemon. Like, it was a whole experience. Pokemon Snap. I would like to say that this is an S or even an A tier. But I think I'll call it B. Because while it was very, very cool, like being able to like take pictures of Pokemon and like their natural environments and like discovering like secret like routes and like hidden things was very cool. And being able to go and like get actual pictures printed off of your like the pictures you took in game, it was such a cool experience. But for what it is, I don't think I can rightfully put it any higher than B tier. But a very, very good time. I played it so much as a kid. And that's it for Gen 1. Moving on to Gen 2. We have Gold and Silver and Crystal. I think, personally, Silver version is better than Gold. I'm putting it up in A tier. Like, Silver and Gold. Gold goes down here in B tier. I think that Gold and like Gen 2 was just so cool. Having the whole game full color. All these new Pokemon. Like it was insane. Like that was the first experience of like, you know, after, you know, Pokemon Fever was fucking massive and swept the world. Getting a new set of Pokemon was just mind-blowing as a kid. And while I had Gold version, I did eventually get Silver, because along with the release of, you know, Gen 2, we also had Pokemon 2000, which had Lugia in it. So I was like, whoa, I want Lugia. But it was so cool. Like, being able to like go and like catch all these new Pokemon all over the place, and having roaming like legendary Pokemon that you could find and catch, and you know, you go and beat the Elite Four, and then oh wow, all of a sudden you can go to the old region where all the, you know, the old gym leaders are, and you can battle them all, and then eventually, you know, you beat them, and you get access to a secret area, and then you get to fight, you know, basically your trainer from the first game. It was like, that's how to do a sequel. Crystal version, on the other hand, is low B tier. Actually, I'm putting it C tier. I'm putting it in a high C tier, though. Because, it really didn't add anything, to be perfectly honest, to the game. Actually, that's not true. It added the functionality to be a girl, and the girl had a way better sprite. However, like, having this whole, like, forced, like, storyline with fucking Suicune was just, didn't feel good. And we've got, where is it? Pokemon Stadium 2. That shit is an A tier. It did everything that Pokemon Stadium did, but better. Most of all the minigames were better. Having like the different types of like tournaments in there, like the Baby Cup and like the Prime Cup and shit like that, like it was so cool. You still could, you know, you can still play your Game Boy games on it. It had the mystery gift function in there. It added like the 2 different layers of like the gym leader tower and stuff. Like it was literally just a perfect upgrade. With Gen 2, literally all they did was just take the first game and just say, hey, what if we took everything in that generation, kept it around, but then also added more to make it better. It was perfect. Okay. So I will be doing I will stick to the main games first. So that will be, well, just by generation, but still. Next will be Ruby and Sapphire. While I do like Ruby and Sapphire, where the fuck? Damn it. Again, I gotta grab some. Son of a bitch. Okay, save. Go ahead and add this real quick. I swear I'm not doing this on purpose. I like double checked everything, but clearly I should have just made a list and just checked them off that way. I'll do that next time. I do like making tier lists. It's fun. So I do like Ruby and Sapphire. I think that Ruby is a C tier, personally. Groudon's whack. And so also is Zangoose. Like, fuck him. I think Sapphire is better. Kyogre's cool. Team Aqua's cool. I guess that's the other team. Team Magma's kind of eh. But Emerald version, A tier. It literally just took both versions, slapped them together, and then gave you a Rayquaza thing. Like, it was cool as hell. So fucking cool. Plus, running at 60 frames. So many cool designs in there. Like, it was mind-blowing seeing that as a kid. Going from the first two generations where it was on, just regular Game Boy, to seeing just the detail and the attacks and, like, all the different new Pokemon and stuff. Like, it was cool. Pokemon Colosseum also goes up in A tier. That was groundbreaking. Having a full-on Pokemon in, like, RPG, because it wasn't even a Pokemon, like, experience. It was a Pokemon RPG. And being able to, like, steal, like, other people's Pokemon and, like, shadow Pokemon and all that shit was fucking cool. Plus, it still had the, like, being able to, like, battle your Pokemon in 3D with the use of, like, the Game Boy Advanced, like, the Game Boy player on the GameCube. It was fucking cool. And then Pokemon XD was more of the same, but less cool. Really, the only cool thing about it, Shadow Lugia. Just look at that fucker. He's cool as hell. Fire Red and Leaf Green, I think they're pretty good. I am putting Fire Red down here just because I think Charizard's an overrated bitch. And Venusaur slaps. But still only a solid B and D tier because, like, I don't know. I don't really like first gen. I'm going to be totally honest. Like, it's okay. Like, yeah, all the designs are iconic, but it's really not that exciting. Oh, well, I do like the Gen 3 remakes a lot because it had, like, you know, some extra stuff that you could do. It was neat, but it was just, man. It's Gen 1. Was there anything else from that generation? Nope, that was it. So now, we move on to the Gen 4 games. Diamond and Pearl. I had Pearl, and I think that Pearl was a nice B tier, which I would put Diamond in C personally. No, D for Diamond, because I'm going to be totally honest. This is actually going down to C. It's going, like, below Crystal. I really don't like Gen 4. Really, the only thing I like about Gen 4 is the Pokemon that came from it, and yeah, honestly, and the music. Other than that, like, I hate the environments. I think they're fucking awful. The game moves slow as piss. Like, it's fucking sucks. Platinum was a step up. It gets high C. Really, only for the, like, inclusion of Giratina as, like, an important legendary and, like, focusing the story around it. Plus I did like the cool, like, outfit switch between the two trainers. Like, that was neat. But that's it with that. And then we got Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Again, so this first S tier, hands down. It literally took everything from Gold and Silver. Both of them get S tier, honestly. Took everything from Gold and Silver, made it look like fucking the new generation of Pokemon, Gen 4, and just fucking threw it out and said, hey, it's the same games, but better. And added a little, Battle Frontier at the end, which I guess that's another thing with Emerald. Emerald moves up because of the Battle Frontier, which I totally forgot about. It's phenomenal. And also, it added, like, the ability to, like, have whatever Pokemon was first in your party, like, follow you around was just so cool. Like, being able to see, like, the huge Pokemon being big. It was cool. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. So, I did not play Explorers of Sky, which everybody says is the best one. I played Blue Rescue Team, which I think was, like, it was fucking perfect. Which I guess this was Gen 3, wasn't it? But whatever, I'm putting it here. I think this was an S tier game. It was long, it was challenging, and at the end of it, like, there was just almost endless content for you to do. Like, it was so much fun. Going into the different dungeons and, like, finding new Pokemon and stuff like that, and, like, equipping them and stuff. Like, it was fun. How about? I'm ranking the Pokemon games.
Yeah, I'm not even going to ask about that one.
Oh.
Why?
Just cause. But, yeah, it was phenomenal. If you've never played the first one, or played any of the Mystery Dungeons, you should absolutely play it. It's very, very good. But moving on to Black and White. I had Black version, and my friend had White. I wanted White version at first, but I settled for Black. And in the long run, I think that it was the better deal. I think Black and White should go in A tier. Actually, I will put them both in B tier. Top of B tier. And the only reason for that is because the sequels are better. I do really like that Black and White were soft reboots of the series, forcing you to only use this dex of 150 like new Pokemon until you beat the game, and then you can start finding the old ones. Like, that was cool. But also, it felt like not super great. It didn't feel like Pokemon at that point, because it was like, yeah, we're doing Pokemon, and like we're doing all the same things, but like I don't recognize anything, which I think is really the only thing that made it suffer, along with its post game. There wasn't really much to do. It was just kind of, all right, go catch Pokemon now, and really that was it. Its sequels, however, the only canonical sequels so far, Black and White 2, are both S tier. Hands down. They are such good games. Like, they just, the problem that I had with Black and White was, again, the bad post game and not being able to catch any new Pokemon or old Pokemon. They literally fixed that with this one. They said, hey, all of that stuff, you can do it. We got a great post game with so much stuff to do. The story is good. Like, it had the characters and stuff from the old ones that you could see running around and doing shit. Like, it was a good fucking time. And plus the legendaries, like, that was such a cool thing with the two, like, different legendaries. And, like, the fusing, that's where fusing Pokemon came from, was from these two games. It was so cool. And plus the music, iconic. I think that's it for DS, regular DS. So we're gonna move on to 3DS. Yeah, 3DS X and Y. I think that I have too many just riding the middle. I think that I liked Y. I think the story feels better with Y instead of X. I will put X down here in F tier for I don't fucking care about it. Which, I'm gonna be honest, basically all of Gen 1 can go down there. Yeah. F for fuck out of here. Literally could do without it. But Y, I think, was cool. It was the first 3D Pokemon game. It introduced the fairy type, which completely changed everything. Like, even a bunch of old Pokemon types, or had their types changed. It was cool. It was a really good time. A lot of people thought they were not great. I don't honestly know why. It had everything you would want in a Pokemon game. Like, it looked good. All the animations were cool, and it added, like, the first, like, big... I guess it was the one that started, like, the games having a gimmick each game with Mega Evolutions, but Mega Evolutions were just so cool. It was, like, it was literally you were able to take, like, a lot of your favorite Pokemon and, like, fucking make them go even further beyond. Like, I thought it was cool. Plus, like, the involved story and stuff with, like, this immortal dude and all that. Like, it was fun. Now, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I think Alpha Sapphire is the better of the two. Because, personally, it just makes more fucking sense. Like, Hoenn is a region with a lot of water. As per its very awful IGN review, the most infamous of, like, 4 out of 10 or whatever, too much water. Stupid. But, it took everything that Emerald version had, or I guess Emerald and Ruby and Sapphire, and just made it look real good. They added Mega Evolutions to it. You got a Legendary just going through the game normally, like midway or something like that. Fucking... I think it lost its Battle Frontier. But it had, like, a good post-game. Like, it was fun. And plus adding, like, you know, the new, like, Gen 6 mechanics and stuff, like... Plus it also added, like, this, like... So Gen 6 also added, like, Wonder Trade, which was super fun. You know, being able to just randomly get a Pokemon from whoever somewhere else in the world. And then also the Dex Nav, which I think was the best inclusion to ever be in a Pokemon game, where you could literally just, like, from around where you were, or just, like, in whatever area you were, you could, like, tap the screen and find out if you were missing anything from that area. And then it would also, like, alert you if there were Pokemon there that had hidden abilities or, like egg moves attached to them. It was phenomenal. They really need to fucking bring that back in some capacity. With that in mind, we're going to move over here to Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity. It's fucking garbage. Everything that I guess we're gonna add another row here because this doesn't make any sense. Nope. Go back down. Row below. Oh shit. We're gonna make this one purple. Okay, this will still be F tier. And this will be the I don't care category, which will have basically all of these. Yeah, but yeah, that mystery dungeon is trash. All the things that made mystery dungeon fun, it was basically gone. Like, it was slow. The story was garbage. It didn't look good. Like, it was very, very dumb. I hated it. Basically, the entire time I played, I was just like, man, I wish I was just playing the first one again. Oh, I didn't put Omega Ruby in here. Team Magma sucks, so I'm putting him in F tier. Fuck him. Okay, that moves us on to Gen 7 with Sun and Moon. Where's Sun? I know I downloaded a picture of Sun. Fuck it, who cares? Sun was going in F tier anyway because Solgaleo is dumb as shit. Moon, though? Hell yeah. This shit was A tier. A lot of people didn't like it. Like, well, actually, no, that's not true. A lot of people really like Sun and Moon. It was really cool, switching it up. There were no gyms. You did all these cool island trials. Having, like, the Ultra Beast storyline. And then, like, the end, there's the final boss is, like, a person fused with, a Ultra Beast. Like, it was cool. There was literally nothing had been seen like that before. It was the craziest shit ever. Had the fantastic music. It introduced, like, regional variants of Pokemon. Like, it was cool. Very, very, very good game. Ultra Moon and Ultra Sun, on the other hand, fucking D tier. That shit sucked balls, dude. It's still not F tier, but also not good. Ultra Moon is D tier. Ultra Sun is F tier. They, like, focus too much around, like, a different, like, the third legendary in the trio, which is fine. I think that would have been fun. However, they changed all the music to make it more, like, synthwave, and it didn't sound good. And then, like, all the cool, like, Ultra Beast storyline, they literally just got rid of it. Like, what was the fucking point? I don't fucking know. It wasn't good, though. Didn't like it. Okay. Now, we get to Sword and Shield. I have played both. Everyone is going to not like my opinion, but Sword can suck my whole ass, dude. Zacian is dumb. I think he looks retarded. That being said, I think Sword or Shield, I would say it's C tier. I think that the wild area was a cool concept, and I liked the idea of, like, the, like, World Cup style, like, Pokemon tournament. I thought that was cool. But it not having, like, it having its DLCs installed from the beginning literally turned into a completely different fucking game. A much better game. So I will say that on release, these games are meh. I think that the Dynamaxing raid battles are cool the first couple times, but they get old very, very quickly. There's a lot of Pokemon that are just kind of okay design-wise. There's a lot of cool... There's some cool ones, but most of them are just kind of with that brings us to the last side game with new Pokemon Snap. This shit is fucking garbage, dude. Actually, it's not garbage. I can't say that. It's D tier for me. It had everything right as far as gameplay goes. It was, like, so good. All the environments were much more detailed. Like, the Pokemon had a lot more personality. There were just as many secrets and things you could, like, discover by interacting with all these different Pokemon, like, out in the wild. It was so cool. But they fucked it up right at the end by, like, forcing you to replay the levels over and over and over when you were already going to do that. Like, how it worked in the original one was, unless there was a level, like, you had to unlock the next level by, like, taking a specific route in that level, you just got the next one by just having a high enough total score between all the, like, pictures you saved and, like, recorded. In this one, you level it up like a phone game, or like a fucking, almost like a fucking battle pass. You, like, have to sit there and grind the same thing over and over for it to get experience, to, like, unlock, like, little tiny changes in that level to give you more, so you can go through it again and, like, get more experience, and so that can unlock the next level. Like, that's too much. Like, you can sit down and beat all of Pokemon Snap 1 in 1 or 2 days. And I think that's how it should have stayed, personally. Like, maybe change it to, like, a week. But, like, and I'm talking, like, a week of, like, you play it for, like, 2 to 3 hours. Like, 7 days. So, 20-hour game. It would have been great. But nah, they turned it into, like, a fucking 50 to 60-hour experience, and that's too much. I guess for a kid, that's fine. But, like, even then, like, you are just grinding it out constantly. And that's just too much for a game where all you're doing is sitting on a rail and taking pictures. It was really a letdown. Now, coming to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I think... So, my experience was probably unlike a lot of people's. And actually, I think that there were far more people that had my experience than have been reported. Like, I think that the voices for this were just very loud, and that it just happened to more people than it should have. But I think that most people had my experience. What happened to me was I was playing, it crashed once, and I had like 1 or 2 graphical glitches happen the entire time. Other than that, really the only problem with it is that it just ran at such a low frame rate. But other than that, I had a good time going out and finding new Pokemon. I thought that honestly, I thought that the characters sucked. Your rival was Nemina, and she's fucking annoying. God knows I couldn't sit around that very long. But yeah, the end, honestly, the post game, like where you go to Area Zero, was the best part of the game. If they had just focused on that and not like, we need to go and fight giant Pokemon to make sandwiches, or we're all kids that got made fun of one time, so we're gonna make an evil organization. And then the gym challenge was just kind of meh. Like, I was so strong by the time I got to every gym that like none of them were like difficult. Like, if you literally just go in straight lines and only catch Pokemon, or fight Pokemon and trainers that are along the road and never explore, like, that's the only way that you can possibly do those events and be like at level or below. And that's just fucking outrageous. And son of an actual bitch, dude. One final... Oh, shit. There's actually a couple that I didn't grab. Give me just a second. But I could have swore that I got these. But, whatever. I literally don't know why these two didn't get added on. Well, one I forgot about, but the other one I absolutely put on there. But for Scarlet and Violet, I'm going to put Violet in D, and I'm going to put Scarlet, and I don't fucking care, because there was basically no difference other than the legendaries, as far as I know, and the professors. And while Sada is definitely attractive, she's definitely no Giga Chad Robot Turo, and also, Koraidon looks stupid. Let's go Eevee. I forgot about. What the fuck happened? Why is that up there? Emerald goes here. That was weird. Yeah. Let's go Eevee. We're gonna do that. It was okay. I think it's neat, but D tier. And really, that's all I gotta say about it. Like, huh? I'll come check in a few minutes. Okay, so we've got Pokemon Legends Arceus next. This shit is an S tier. It's literally everything, and everybody agrees. It's everything that Scarlet and Violet should have been. And, it was great. All the environments, I think, looked great. A lot of people said that it was, boring and not graphically fucking, not graphically impressive. And it's like, as far as the graphics goes, who cares? It's literally a Nintendo game. Not a single person on the planet is playing a Nintendo game because it's got the best graphics. You're playing it because it's fun. And Pokemon Legends was indeed fun. For the very first time since I was a kid, I got up and wanted to play Pokemon. Not just, I'm going to play Pokemon. It was such a cool experience. And I hope that they can turn it around moving forward from here with Scarlet and Violet, and eventually Gen 2. I'm expecting next year for Gen 10. I said Gen 2. Yeah, Gen 10, because it's the 30th anniversary, I'm pretty sure, right? Huh. Yep.
I swear to God, I will download a gun mod in the future to shoot Pokemon that I do not use.
You can't even do that. It doesn't exist. That's a completely different thing. Someone made that whole thing as a game by itself. It's not a mod. Yeah, so that's all the official games. So moving on from here, we're gonna go again, same generational thing. Pokemon Crystal Clear. This is an A tier. It was super fun. It's a free roam Pokemon game, well, open world. You get to customize your trainer sprite and stuff from a bunch of different options. You have almost 20 different starter choices and stuff like that. You can start from any town between the two regions of Gold and Silver, and you can challenge the gym in any order you want, and all the Pokemon and trainers scale to how many badges you have to keep it challenging for you. You can re-challenge any of the gym leaders anytime you want, and at any level of difficulty that you've beaten already. And then the Elite Four on top of that is very difficult. It is a good game. They added also a bunch of extra side dungeons and stuff as well. It's fantastic. Not to mention every single Pokemon in Generation 2 is catchable. So all 251 Pokemon. It was phenomenal. And I would love to play it again. Pokemon My Ass version. It's going down here in C tier because it's funny. It is just a stupid fart joke version of Fire Red and Leaf Green. And the only reason it's not in D tier or F tier is purely because of a couple mechanics. Like, you could buy Pokemon from a store, like ones that were generally rare near the beginning, and it had like stock that would change every so often. It was cool. And then also, if you ever short on money, you could go out and like catch Pokemon and then sell them to a guy for money, for a pretty decent amount too. So, but that's really all I got to say about it. Other than that, it's just fart joke Pokemon. Pokemon Infinite Fusion, the current fad in the Pokemon world, I think is very cool. The most fun part about it is literally just trying all these different combinations. I do, however, think that it has a couple issues. Like, I think that it could be really good if some things got hashed out. Like, you can go to like both Johto and Kanto, but you have to start in Kanto, and you're not allowed to go to Johto until you've like gotten rid of Elite Four at Silph, which you can't do until after you have the 5th badge. I think that it would be much cooler if they allowed you to start from either side. Because I think that would just add much more replayability. Because, like a lot of people are like, oh man, Gen 1's great, but it's not. Gen 1 fucking sucks, dude. Area's awful. Fuck Kanto. But literally, just because right now, for me, it doesn't have a lot of replayability. It's going in B tier. It would be S tier, but it's just, there's not much to do. And then the last one, Pokemon Uranium version, which absolutely I wish was a real fucking... It should have been a real, like, official release. It is the best Pokemon experience I have ever had. The music is amazing. The environments are cool. All of the Pokemon are very unique and different. There were type mix-ups type matchups that hadn't been in there before, and like new moves and like evolutions to old Pokemon and stuff, and a good story, and added like another type of another Pokemon typing. Like, it was phenomenal. Such a good game, and I cannot recommend another Pokemon title more than Uranium. It is famous for it being the biggest cease and desist order to ever be released from Nintendo, and so they did stop support on it several years ago. But it's still complete game, fully playable all the way through. But if you expect a post game, there is no post game. So that is the only downside. But it does have a built-in Nuzlocke and a built-in randomizer mode, so it has plenty of replayability. But with that, I'm going to look over this list again and see if there is anything I am missing. Oh, let me put Ruby down here, and I don't care. put Crystal down in D tier. I'm going to move Leaf Green down to C. Move Platinum up to B. Order of good, how good these are up here. This goes here, that stays there, that goes here, and then white 2. I think white 2 should go above that. This goes above that. You go at the bottom. This goes at the top of A, hands down. I think Infinite Fusion should be top of B. All the rest of this feels right, though. Except yellow. Yellow can go at the bottom of C. This goes at the bottom of D. This goes at the very bottom. Literally, fuck that game. It's garbage. I think that's solid. I think I was pretty fair with all this. I've played very many Pokemon games. Most of them are the same, which is why there's a decent, like, we had literally had to add a column called I don't care. Absolutely not. Do, 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 do. No, god damn it. I don't do spammers. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a download and yeah, debate me if you got something to say about it. But for the moment, I'm going to step away and I'll be back shortly. I will leave the music running.
so good 素敵なアフタヌーンプラチナみんな Yeah 固めて転がす I love you いつでも smile for you 君だけにラブ Hey so 頑張らなくちゃ Congratulations
Well, it turns out that was all the time I had for today. So if you stuck around, thanks for